he turned around to me and he said, "You're my 7% and I just want you to go out there and live your life now." And like those words, because there was only a 7% chance of me surviving, they just resonated like deep inside, and I thought, yeah, like he's right.
Yeah. Olivia, isn't it so great that we're here with Aldi today to talk about the amazing work that Teenage Cancer Trust do and have done for us with our cancer journeys? And we've each chosen a dish, and I've chosen a dish for you, you've chosen a dish for me, and it's safe to say that the dishes are significant to both of us throughout our cancer journey. They mean something quite special to us.
Yeah, definitely. Shall we see what we've got?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, wow. So, you've chosen
Lasagna.
And what is your reason behind that?
So my first meal after my cancer treatment was lasagna. It was in hospital. So it was NHS special, but it's always remained significant to me, and I now make it every year on my remission date, just as a reminder of how far I've came. And you're obviously psychic because you've given me one of my favourite things in the world, which is like a roast dinner.
Yeah, chicken dinner. For me, this still is quite significant. For me, I only had a very short window when I started to feel a little bit better in between chemotherapy cycles, started to feel a bit more like myself. There were certain things I couldn't eat. And for me, being able to actually try, and cook something like this is really significant because it gave me the opportunity to kind of feel normal again and have a sense of normality. So that's the reason I've chosen that.
Wonderful. So obviously your cancer was quite rare, wasn't it? What was it you were diagnosed with?
Yeah, rhabdomyosarcoma. So it's a 1 in a million diagnosis. I was diagnosed at the age of 21. And for me, even the doctor that told me the words "I have cancer" didn't know what the cancer was. So not only hearing the words "you have cancer" at such a young age is the scariest thing in the world, but then knowing that it's a very rare type of cancer that not many people have heard of. It's very much a typical out-of-body experience, and that is what you do experience. And for you as well, with your cancer, what was that diagnosis like, the feeling of that?
So I was 20 years old, and I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer of the tongue and lymph nodes. So it's in the head and neck cancer category. I'd initially ignored my symptoms as I thought it was just an ulcer on my tongue. And hearing, like you've said, you've got cancer, and then stage 4 was just, I can't remember it, but I can. And I'm sure you can relate to that. It's just, definitely. It's the wildest feeling ever. But it's also a feeling that I don't ever want to forget, because now I look back and reflect on how far I have came, and it's amazing, the treatment that's available to us and
definitely
where we are now.
Exactly.
So for me, when I walked into the doctor's office, I noticed the vast amount of people there, and I kind of knew. Luckily enough, my dad had came with me, and I just said, "Tell me what is the matter with me, I'm not sitting down." So they went and got my father and we sat down, and then just from that moment on, I knew everything was going to be different. I was going to go from that young, fun 20-year-old girl with a great social life and all these prospects to someone I'm going to experience cancer treatment. And all you ever see of cancer treatment is these adverts with people who've lost their hair. You see people really ill. You see advertisements for hospices, and that was my fear that was going to be me. But it's completely different to that, because there's so much help and guidance out there for young people, and I'm sure you experienced that too.
So had you heard of Teenage Cancer Trust before you were diagnosed?
At the time of my diagnosis, I hadn't. It wasn't a thing that I was familiar with. However, when I was admitted to hospital at the Freeman in Newcastle, they have a teenage and young adult ward, and at the time there was a young man called Chris who worked with the Teenage Cancer Trust, and he would come in to my room every day to check on me, and that's when I was introduced to the charity. And I was quite reclusive throughout my treatment. I kind of segregated myself from all of my social life, everything. I didn't actually tell my friends until after my treatment.
Wow.
But Chris, even knowing that, every day still stuck his head in my room and said, "How are you, Olivia? Do you want to do this today? Or do you just want to sit and chat? Or do you want me to go away?"
Yeah.
And you know, just having that unfamiliar face, but that recognition of what I was going through, it comforted me so much. And since then, I felt like it's my duty to spread a message for the Teenage Cancer Trust of, you're not alone. There are people out there you can speak to.
Yeah.
You can always reach out to these people.
They're there for you, regardless.
I was raised by a single father, so my dad would come after work every day. Obviously, you'll know the teenage young adult wards you can visit at any time. But the Teenage Cancer Trust would make sure that my dad had eaten, that he was okay. They referred him to different charities and different things that could help. Chris would sit and talk to my dad about, because when I was diagnosed, the World Cup was on. So obviously that was everyone's priority. And I remember Chris sitting with my dad and talking about the football, and just, you know, them few moments of normality for me.
Yeah, they mean so much.
And seeing my dad in a conversation that wasn't about chemo or radiotherapy, the potential that your daughter might pass away, like that brought so much joy to me. Like, I can't thank them enough for everything they did for me at that time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 7 young people in the UK get diagnosed with cancer every single day.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. And I think there needs to be representation, and Teenage Cancer Trust speak up for young people when they don't necessarily feel like they have a voice. And I think that's why I feel so strongly and passionate about creating awareness, spreading awareness, and being able to help other young people going through a situation. I think that you have your whole life mapped out in your head when you're young, and yes, you might not know exactly what you want to do, but that's the best part about it, is that you've got hope for the future. Whereas the minute that you're diagnosed with cancer, your youth is taken away from you, and you have to learn to navigate a new life that no one else your age is really going through. So I think that's really tough. And I don't know about you, but I think it makes you grow up a lot faster and realise that actually the way I have to react to life now is totally different.
Yeah. We are so blessed in this country to have these professionals, to have charities like the Teenage Cancer Trust, because without them, we wouldn't have that level of support.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't be sitting here today, the confident woman I am.
Yeah.
They build you up when you're reduced to nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, I remember the day that I went to see my head and neck specialist, and he sat me down and he said, "Well, this is it, Olivia, it's been 5 years. You don't need to come back." And I was like, "But I want to." Like, you've been my life for the past
a long time.
5 years. Like, you saved my life. We've got, like, and he turned around to me and he said, "You're my 7%, and I just want you to go out there and live your life now." And like, those words, because there was only a 7% chance of me surviving, they just resonated deep inside, and I thought, yeah, like, he's right.
Yeah. I always kind of think you're 3 different types of people. You're the person you were before treatment, the person you were during treatment, and then the person you were afterwards, but you've then got to try and navigate and shape that person. And I really struggled post-treatment with my identity, with what I wanted from life. And I think, looking back now, I'm actually kind of glad, because I think that I lived with no regret. I still do. And I just don't take things as seriously anymore. I don't put too much pressure on myself. And I think that is the best piece of advice I would give to someone, is never, ever compare yourself to anyone else, because you are your own person. That's your strength. No one can ever be you. And I think that really does influence your perspective on life post-treatment.
I think that you've got to find, like, the beauty within all of the madness afterwards. You've just got to sit down and think, like, wow.
I've done a lot of work with Teenage Cancer Trust now after treatment, and I think I wish I'd found them earlier.
Yeah.
They are amazing, and they've done some amazing work, and I hope that partnerships like this will continue to allow Teenage Cancer Trust to give young people the platform that they need.
Keep spreading the message positively.
Yeah, 100%.
2 glamorous ladies like us sitting here eating chicken dinners.